Do you believe the earth was created in 7 literal days? What is your take on this? You know, Brett, I wasn't there. I just heard. Come on, man. Do I believe the earth was in 7 days? I don't know. That's up to the deity. The deity did it. All right, do I spend a lot of time thinking about Adam and Eve and the little snake and all of that? No, I don't. I take the Bible, I read the Bible, I take the lessons that the Bible teaches, I try to incorporate them in my life. I mostly fail. I'm fallible as everybody is, but, you know, I have my theology, my Roman Catholic religion. I try to be a good person, try to do what Jesus would do. I usually fail, as I said, but I'm not spending a lot of time worrying about the Garden of Eden.
Is the media, Ms. Green, anti-religion in America?
Well, of course.
Do you think the media is anti-religion?
I do. It's not cool to be Christian. Come on, let's face it.
Well, we're the coolest guys around.
Well, that may be the
case. You and me, it doesn't get cooler.
Well, the shut-up line has happened only once in 6 years.
You want to know what I was doing?
Shut up. I'm asking you to shut up about sex. What? Listen, cut his mic.
Fucking thing sucks!
But I believe that we're teaching young people that being a Christian is not cool.
Who's teaching them?
I believe the media. Kids are so, listen, they believe anything that's thrown at them.
All right, now why did you object to it, Andrew? What was it about it that you didn't like?
Well, I thought it was totally inappropriate for high schoolers, let alone anybody, to listen to.
Hollywood has been ahead of the curve in the loose morals department for years. We know that, which makes
There's a difference between loose morals and anti-religion.
Christians are taught to turn the other cheek.
So you keep your mouth shut.
Not even an Orthodox Jew or a fundamentalist Christian can take God at his word, given how sadistic God is in books like Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Exodus. If you were going to draw your to-do list out of a book like Leviticus, you would make Mullah Omar of the Taliban look like Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It's important to point out that nobody ever says these passages are immoral. I mean, the idea that you find that a woman is not a virgin on her wedding night and you stone her to death. You stone homosexuals to death. If your kids talk back to you, you stone them to death. If you go into a town and you see someone praying to a foreign god, you kill him, you kill his family, you kill everyone in the town.
Christians are the easy target.
They're the easy target.
They're not going to do it to Muslims. But listen, on MSNBC, they made fun of Sarah Palin because she admitted that she was looking for people to pray with. I pray before I get on an airplane. I pray before I go out and do the show every morning. I pray every night before I go to bed.
And I agree with you both, that there is an anti-religion bias, not only in the news media, but in the entertainment media as well. Why?
Because the media, because the Christianity, because religious people come out and do and say the truth, because they tell the MTVs, they tell the hedonistic culture that this is wrong, that there is a truth.
Unless the citizens of our country imitate the example of Jesus Christ, that we would not be a happy nation, that it is a gracious, heavenly God who holds our nation in His hands.
What did Iraq have to do with what?
The attack on the World Trade Center.
Nothing.
At the time was we thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't.
But you've used a phrase that interests me, which is you said freedom is a gift of the Almighty. It is.
Just the smartest people who ever lived wrote these books say. If the Bible is the best book we have in the West, in ethical terms, we should be practicing slavery. The creator of the universe clearly expects us to keep slaves.
Freedom is a gift of the Almighty. It is.
He simply tells us not to beat our slaves so severely that we put out their eyes or their teeth.
Unless the citizens of our country imitate the example of Jesus Christ, that we would not be a happy nation.
Jesus clearly expected us to keep slaves. He never criticizes the institution of slavery. He uses analogies with slaves. Paul in 1 Timothy admonishes slaves to serve their masters well and to serve their Christian masters especially well.
This guy will kill your baby for $5,000. Known as Tiller the Baby Killer. Tiller the Baby Killer out in Kansas, acquitted. Right. Tiller has killed thousands of late-term fetuses.
For 4 years, on at least 28 occasions, that is what was said on Fox News Channel.
Acquitted today of murdering babies.
Nazism, Al-Qaeda, Hitler, Mao Zedong, Stalin, baby killing, pedophilia, Tiller the Baby Killer. Again and again and again. And tonight, confronted with the inevitable result of instigation, the principal perpetrator at Fox News Channel made no acknowledgement of culpability, nor even regret. He said, "No backpedaling here. I report honesty. Everything we said about Tiller was true, and my analysis was based on those facts. It is clear that the far left is exploiting the death of the doctor. Those vicious individuals want to stifle any criticism of people like Tiller. That and hating Fox News is the real agenda here. If these people were so compassionate, so very compassionate, so concerned for the rights and welfare of others, maybe they might have written something on things about the 60,000 fetuses who will never become American citizens." It is useless to urge restraint on men who believe self-editing of freedom of speech should apply only to others, that they are flawless and blameless and righteous. It is useless to make Frank Schaeffer's argument to them, even though they have made parallel ones about how liberal television degrades children, about how liberal television hypnotizes voters, about how liberal entertainment destroys American values. When they reply, "Not in this case, bad apple, TV can't make that happen," it is useless to say, if TV can't make something happen, then why do people advertise on it with the same commercial again and again and again in hopes of making buzzwords sink in? The Geico Gecko, Viva Viagra, FreeCreditReport.com, Tiller the baby killer. Don't tell them. They will not listen. We know this because of the case earlier this year of a Fox News commentator named Bernard Goldberg. In February, it was revealed that last July, before he walked into a Unitarian church in Tennessee and opened fire during a children's play, Jim David Adkisson had written a note of explanation. "This was a symbolic killing," he said. "Who I wanted to kill was every Democrat in the Senate and the House, the 100 people in Bernard Goldberg's book." That 2005 book was called The 100 People Who Are Screwing Up America, and on the list was everybody from Al Gore to Anna Nicole Smith. Mr. Goldberg did not even offer as much as his regrets, never mind offer his resignation. His employer, Fox News, responded to reporting that placed the books of several of its hosts in Adkisson's home by sending one of the same producers who stalked the late Dr. Tiller to stalk the reporter who had had the nerve to link that network to the 2 people killed by Adkisson in Tennessee. So what to do? Viewer boycotts mean little. You are already here. You are not watching Fox News Channel. Advertiser boycotts are also of limited value. Most make barely a dent in a company. Besides which, in this economy, an advertiser that found its sales boosted by association with malaria would start breeding mosquitoes. If there is a solution, it is perhaps an indirect boycott. It is probably your experience, as it has been mine, that stores, bars, restaurants, waiting rooms often show Fox News on their televisions. Don't write a letter. Don't make a threat. Just get up and explain. If they will not change the channel, leave the place and say calmly why it is you are taking your business elsewhere. If you know a viewer of that channel, show them this tape, or just the tape of the attacks on Dr. Tiller that set the stage for his assassination. Fox News Channel will never restrain itself from incitement to murder and terrorism, not until its profits begin to decline, when its growth stops. So not so much a boycott here as a quarantine, because this has got to stop. That I have a commercial conflict of interest here is obvious, so I'll make the first symbolic contribution to this quarantine. One of my pleasures, obviously, is constantly criticizing him in that Ted Baxter voice. It is the idea of laughter as a social sanction against inflexible behavior. But this is no time for laughter. This is serious. Serious as death. Serious as George Tiller's death. So as of this show's end, I will retire the name, the photograph, and the caricature. The words may still be quoted in the future as developments dictate. But the goal here is to get this blindly irresponsible man and his ilk off the air. We are only in the television news business, a profession that is at times about 2 inches up from carnival barking. We must again separate it, television, from terrorism. And we must again make the world safe for people condemned by the Fox News Channel.
Fundamentalist Christians in our country are beating their children with rods. Last year alone in Alabama, 40,000 kids were paddled in their schools. It's legal to do this. This is a faith-based initiative. You can put your faith in a 21st century conversation about ethics, or you can put your faith in a first century conversation as preserved in these books.